All right, man, peace. So, brothers, this is going to be the first entry in a new series that I'm starting called Are You With a Jealous Woman, Volume 1. And let me say this very quickly, brothers. There are many reasons why you're in a jealous relationship with a woman, because jealousy can be a two-way street. And there's such a thing as healthy jealousy and there's unhealthy jealousy. Whenever you're with someone and you hold them in high value or high favor, that feeling of quote unquote jealousy is always going to be there between the two parties, as it should be. If you're with someone and they absolutely don't care about what you're doing at all, it's because they hold you of low value or low worth. That's not someone that you should be taking seriously if they're not the least bit interested in what you're doing and who you're doing it with, things of that nature. But there's such a thing as unhealthy jealousy, jealousy that goes overboard. And there are many reasons for that. Maybe that person was traumatized in their childhood. Maybe they were traumatized by a relationship in their youth. Maybe they're just someone who's insecure. We have to be examining ourselves every day to make sure that we're not exhibiting some of those unhealthy, toxic traits. At the end of the day, you have to find your way out of a relationship when you realize that the person that you're with is exhibiting unhealthy jealousy traits. Because let me also say this, especially when you're with a woman and they're exhibiting those type of characteristics, it could be because that's a red herring to try to hide what she herself is doing when you're not around. And that brings us to this case right here, featuring Miss Tamara Howard. Let's see what they have to say. Of course, they're going to talk about it. I'm going to chime in.
Plaintiff Tamara Howard started dating the defendant after they met online. But Tamara installed spyware on his phone because she didn't trust him.
Hey, brother, did you hear that? It says that she installed spyware on his phone. Now, there are many reasons why she may have done that. It could be because she's had issues with men, quote unquote, cheating on her in the past. It could be because he gave her a false sense of who he was and she started to get suspicious after she started to, quote unquote, fall in love with him. And many of these women, just to get to the point, they love to get caught up in the cycle of, I'm going to catch you in something. That's why it's very important for brothers to be honest with themselves and honest with the woman as well. Because what that does is that quells that incessant need that many of these females have to be a part of or at the epicenter of a dramatic situation. I caught you doing this, or I caught you doing that, or aha. You'll find that once you eliminate that factor from your relationship, you're able to reveal if the woman that you're with is actually about something. Most of these broads get caught up in the reality TV paradigm where everything is about theatrics and rah-rah and all that bullshit. Once you remove that, you get to see if there's someone who's actually functional and if you can build with them. Because the toughest thing for most women to be able to endure is monotony. I'm going to say it again. One of the toughest things for a woman to be able to endure is monotony, meaning what? Doing the same thing every day. But that's what a real relationship is about. The sun, the moon, the currents, the wind, they all operate according to the same functionalities every day. Monotony is a sign of consistency. If you find that you're in a relationship and you have no idea what that person is going to be doing from day to day, I'm talking to you brothers out there, that probably means that if you remain with them, that you yourself are dysfunctional, or you were never taught when it's time to cut the cord on something.
Tamara says she eventually caught the defendant cheating, and she's suing him for loan and late fees.
Allegedly, she eventually, quote unquote, caught him cheating.
Defendant Michael Allen says his relationship with Tamara moved fast, and she never trusted him.
Brothers, you hear that? According to the defendant, the quote unquote relationship with the plaintiff moved fast. What does that mean? That means that he allowed her to stipulate the terms of engagement or the rules of engagement in the relationship. Because many of these females today are infatuated with moving their relationship along as quickly as possible so that they can ensnare the man. That normally happens with men who are unaware or just ignorant of what's going on around them in society, and they themselves are just accustomed to playing a certain role. Don't be that cat who's just playing a role, brothers. Be who you are. Because what that does is that stops the huge tumultuous back and forth that might end up getting you locked up. And you don't want that. There's no woman out here worth getting locked up for. Let the broad go. Be who you are from the jump. If you're not ready to be with just one woman, let the broad know that. Most of these females don't care because most of them have more than one man to begin with. But if you try to enter the quote-unquote so-called relationship telling the woman that you're just going to be with her, you're on that Jaheim, put your woman first shit, or that Carl Thomas shit, and you make her think that you're somebody that you're not, that's going to lead to very bad repercussions down the line.
Even though she's the one who cheated on him. Michael
He says that she's the one who cheated on him. And I would not be surprised, because most of the chicks who have the most baggage have filled it with their own dirty laundry.
Michael claims Tamara is suing him for more than he owes.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
Start with you.
All right, Your Honor. Me and Michael, we met online early 2016. We hit it off.
That dating app just might be a trap.
Hit it off real good. Spent a lot of time together in the beginning. Things went pretty quickly.
You wanted it to go very quickly. Brothers, once again, if you allow the woman to determine the speed with which your relationship develops, it's not going to end well. You have to be honest. You have to be forthright. Let her know that you're not really willing to go too fast or end up in a situation that you're not comfortable with. A lot of you cats allow the woman to stipulate certain things because you're scared that you're going to lose the vagina. You can't live your life like that, man. It's not worth it.
The first time I can remember spending away from him was a weekend. He stated he needed to go back home for some legal matters. So while he was gone, I couldn't get in contact with them. I would call, wouldn't, get a call back. Text would take hours. Kind of made me suspicious. But when he returned, everything went back to normal.
In other words, he went off on a trip. He was hitting up other broads because that's what he was doing. That's why he was not answering your call. And if you were that concerned about what he was doing on his road trip, you should have went with him. You should have went with him. Look, brothers, when you get into a relationship, you have to understand that you can't develop something serious and then tell the woman that you're departing for a week or 2 weeks at a time and then expect her to not want to go with you. That's why I say you got to be transparent, man. Because these broads, they have a lot of mental issues. They have different or outside stimuli that is attacking them on an everyday basis, whether it's insecurities or lusts or what have you. So you have to be a stabilizing force for the woman. And if she's not willing to accept you as a stabilizing force, no problem. You go into concubine zone at the very best. At the very best, you're a concubine, and maybe you'll get cut off if your intent is to bring some level of malice or toxicity into my life. I cannot tolerate that. I cannot allow that. That's how you guys stop the quote-unquote baby mama drama from developing, because bad baby mamas start off as quote-unquote bad girlfriends. It's very rare that a dude is with a chick and she's a great person, she's kind and she's mannerly and so on and so forth for 2 or 3 years, and all of a sudden you get her pregnant and she just becomes this devilish bitch. She was that before you got her pregnant. You just were accustomed to it because you were trained your whole life to tolerate that shit from women. And you're not supposed to tolerate that shit, man.
A couple months after that, I found out that Michael was actually someone's date in a wedding, and he spent the weekend with another woman. So it kind of...
How'd you find that out?
I installed spyware on his phone and seen text messages. I'm not saying it's right, but that's where my head was. I didn't want to let the relationship go because I really liked him. But at that point, the trust was dwindling.
You say you really liked him. What that really means is that he was hitting it right. Brothers, if a woman is going to install spyware on your phone, what she's really saying is that she looks at you like a little boy. She has very low respect for you. And she has very low respect for the relationship or what you have to say. Whether you're actually sleeping with another woman or not, that's not a person that you can develop a serious relationship with. That's not a person who your relationship is going to proceed far past what it already is. Because if the woman's going to put spyware on your phone, she's already telling you that in her mind, she's already so insecure or so distrustful of you that anytime you depart from her and she does not have that proverbial leash on you, she's going to suspect you of doing something, whether you're doing it or not. So you have to make that decision of how soon you're going to cut the broad off. Or maybe you're just one of them niggas who love drama. Who knows? Some of you guys love drama. Some of you guys like to have these silly broads trying to go back and forth with you all goddamn day.
So, the spyware, like I said, I can see the text, the pictures, and even sometimes hear phone calls. So,
She should work for the government.
Yeah,
I
you
did
sound like you'll do a better job. You'll know the Russians are taking our elections. Go ahead.
So I eventually told him about the spyware, and we came to the agreement that he would change his number.
You know, brothers, not to digress, but isn't it so funny that once Trump gets elected / selected into the White House, all of a sudden all these people are so concerned about the Russians controlling the American elections. Now, had Hillary Clinton gotten selected / elected for the so-called White House, and people have said Vladimir Putin put her in to the White House in the role of president, do you think that so many of these liberal Negroes and homosexuals and feminists will be saying, oh yeah, we have to make sure that we don't allow the Russians to invade our voting process? Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit.
So exes from the past couldn't reach out. So we fast forward to...
This chick had homeboy change his phone number. Let me rewind this back a little bit.
Know the Russians are taking our elections. Go ahead.
So I eventually told him about the spyware, and we came to the agreement that he would change his number. So exes...
This broad is so insecure that she's making homeboy change his phone number. And he's ready to do it. You know why? Because he probably was raised in one of these black matriarchal households where mama would dictate certain things to him. Brothers, you never ever change your phone number because a woman wants you to change your phone number. You must be out of your motherfucking mind. At the end of the day, it's going to end up being that she wants to be the only person who's trying to contact you. Even your own mother, your sister, your brother ain't going to be allowed to speak to you. That's how you know that's an insecure, jealous female. But once again, like I already stated, a lot of you guys like that silly shit.
Exes from the past couldn't reach out. So we fast forward to June of this year. I saw a text message from a young lady. I assumed it was a woman because when she texted Michael, she said, hey, I'm in your city. He's originally from Michigan. We live in Indianapolis. Hey, I'm in your city. Come out and have a drink with me. I admit he didn't go. He didn't respond, but he did say, who's this? She was like, well, come and find out, you know. Or you must be with your woman. That's why you can't come. So at that point, I said, you know, I'm not doing it anymore. And that's when we separated.
So in other words, you base your separation on a strange person contacting a new phone number that you forced him to get. He did not even know who the person was, but you decided that you're going to go from there since you're still spying on his phone like you're one of the higher ups at the CIA. You're going to proceed and just leave the man. But he deserves it because he stayed with you even after he found out that you were so jealous that you would make him change his phone number. And on top of that, he probably knew that you were tracking him.
Even though he said he didn't know who it was?
Mm-hmm. Because it was a new number. So I'm like, well, how did she get your new number?
Got it. All right. Sir?
Well, first and foremost, we must correct that because that's not what the text said at all. It was, hey, big head, how you been? Who is this? I'd rather remain anonymous, but how are you, though?
What that translates to is, you used to hit it real well 2 years ago. I left you. I made a big mistake. I've been with 10 dudes since you, and you were the only person who actually treated me like I was something other than a slut and a whore. I want to get back with you. All you brothers get them texts. Some broad that you dealt with 3 years ago acting like she checking up on you. No, she's a lonely broad. She's tired of drinking a glass of wine by herself every night. She hasn't been able to find a guy who's taken her seriously since the previous time that she was with you. And now she wants to check and see if you want to get back with her. All that lame liberal female bullshit.
I delete the text. Like she stated before, we met.
That sounds like somebody either desires you or you've been involved with.
All right. That's definitely a possibility.
All right. So then she was right. Go ahead. That's like not what the text said. Whatever it said, the meaning she attributed to it is right. Go ahead.
Right. Like she said, we hit it off. Went from a Disney movie to a sci-fi movie real quick.
So in other words, it was a happy story that you thought might have a happy ending, and then it turned into a thriller. That's normally how many of these so-called relationships go, especially with you black matriarchal dudes and these liberal females. It's just one big bubble fuck.
How old were you all when you started?
What was this, 2 years ago?
Oh, okay.
24?
24 you were?
Yes.
You thought he never intended to see another woman in his life at
That's
age
what
24?
we talked about. We had plans because I set him down.
Don't believe a guy, y'all. Guy under 25 tells you he never intends to see another woman in his entire life. You can try to believe that if you want to.
That's interesting, Judge Mathers. Aren't you on record as stating that you met your wife in college? You were not 25 years old. So what are you saying? You were screwing around on her all through your 20s?
At age 25. Go ahead.
Well, that was never the problem. Our problem stemmed from our own.
She said it was.
Our own internal issue.
That's what you think. She says the problem was you and all these other women.
Yeah, all these other women. Let's see records of that. But
Pardon me?
I said I would like to see records of that.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Okay, let's not
She
get
made you
crazy.
change your number. Why'd you change your number?
To put
That was
her
a weak move if he wasn't doing wrong.
To put
Agreed. That's a weak move, period. That's a weak move, period, to change your number, brother, over a damn woman requesting it. The chick that you with tells you to change your number and you're going to go ahead and do it, and you was only with her for a couple of months. Are you out of your fucking mind? As a matter of fact, even if that's your so-called baby mother and she's telling you to change your number because so many people are calling your number, I'm sure that she knew about those women before she allowed herself to get knocked up. But again, that's not even the woman's fault, because the woman is going to operate on the level of a child for the most part, especially when it comes to her emotional nature in relationships. It's up to the man to clear out his own closet and make sure that all his shit is going as seamlessly as possible, because the woman's going to bring chaos. You have to bring the order and try to nullify that energy.
to put her mind at ease.
Dang, that was weak. Go ahead. What else you want to tell him? Tell him to crawl around.
Right.
So that'll make me feel better.
Yeah, that would have been exactly what
Go
you
ahead.
wanted.
That's what you did. All right. Go ahead, sir. And when he had all them women, you'd be very popular if you take orders like that.
In other words, Judge Mathis is saying that most of these modern day females are looking for a good, obedient simp.
All these women here want you. And you take orders like that? Go ahead, sir.
He's just playing them out. You take order like that? Go ahead, sir.
I just feel like we rushed into things.
No, you rushed into things, bro. Brothers, once again, if you allow the woman to determine the speed with which your relationship develops, you cannot blame anyone but yourself. Okay? The woman is like a blind man driving a car. She's going to drive it with a smile on her face, and when she crashes the car, she's not going to blame herself. She's going to blame the driving instructor who allowed her to get behind the wheel, knowing that she was legally blind. Okay, that driving instructor is supposed to be you. That's how the woman is when you give her control over the pace and speed that the relationship develops. But once again, this brother probably does not even have anything. A lot of cats, how they conduct themselves in relationships has a direct correlation with what they've accomplished in their life, what they've been taught, and what they know or don't know.
It was a lot of non-communication, double standards, especially if I wanted to go hang out with my homeboys, she wasn't going. It was going to be a problem every time. But as soon as she was ready to go hang out with her girls, I better not say nothing but have a good time. Or the free communication I allowed her with her children's fathers. But if I wanted to talk to my daughter's mother, then she felt like she's supposed to be next to me. The phone's supposed to be on speakerphone. I can't answer if she's not standing next to me, and I got to check.
Damn, sound like you locked up, bro. That's what it sounded like to me. And he also mentioned non-communication. Brothers, communication is a major key in your quote-unquote relationship. It's a major key. If the woman does not communicate with you, it's normally because she does not respect you. Now, many of these modern-day females have an issue with communication. They get on TV and they ramble on and on about communication and the importance of communication. But the woman enjoys small talk. She does not enjoy big talk, especially with a man who she quickly realizes is more intelligent than her. Because what this society does is it constantly tries to inundate women with this false notion that they're smarter than all men, especially black women. They love telling black women that they're smarter than black men. So when they encounter a man who's more intelligent than them, they try to nullify it by trying to control the tenor of the communication, especially if they see that you do not agree with them on certain liberal ideologies. But once you see that a woman is starting to unplug when it comes to the communication, it's time for you to unplug from the relationship. There has to be open communication. And what I mean by that, I mean non-toxic communication. not the woman trying to get you to carry her baggage, having mental breakdowns and emotional breakdowns and thinking that you're supposed to be a psychiatrist for every damn thing. There has to be an exchange of positive energy. It can't be all this toxic nonsense.
Check in like she my PO.
Was that
Okay,
before or after
so-
she caught you?
This was after.
Okay, and
Makes
after that,
sense.
tell the judge exactly why I felt
Did
that.
you ever catch her?
I didn't call her. I didn't call her up.
Okay. He's caught you.
Oh, yeah, there was a time, but I want to explain
Let's
why.
move on. I don't explain nothing. What you sorting for today? You got me going through all this, coming down on this man like that, and you...
Yeah, she tricked you, Judge. She tricked you, Judge Mathis. She was rambling on with her jealous tendencies, talking about how she bugged the man's phone and all this other shit. And as usual, with most insecure, low-level, liberal females, she had stepped out herself.
And you're doing the same thing.
No, after
$485,
Yeah.
unpaid loan and late fees. What is that for?
August the
Just mess
20th.
around like yum. Go ahead.
August the 20th of this year, Michael texted me and asked me, could he borrow $75 for his car note? I told him, yeah, but I would need to have that money paid back to me within a 5-day period because I needed that money for my rent. So I need you to pay this money back. So what he said was,
Were you all
okay.
involved with each other or something?
No, we were not. We were separated.
You have a child or something?
No, what that really means is that you guys had an argument. You were upset with him, but the reason why you gave him the money is because you're still in love with him and you're unable to find another man to replace him. And that's how the woman's brain operates. The woman's brain operates according to replaceability. Can you be replaced? If she cannot find someone to replace you, then she'll try to maintain that rapport until she can. Once she gets up in that late 30s, early 40s area, she just accepts the fact that whoever she's with is probably who she's going to be with for the rest of her life.
Or something
Yes, we
together?
do have a son together.
Okay.
So,
So you gave up the child's rent? You risked the rent?
well,
you
he's
and
his
your
father.
child?
I didn't think he would allow it. I mean, he would not pay it back and have us out in the street.
You didn't think so?
No.
You was not risking.
Now you know better.
Yeah, no, I know better.
Okay, nah.
No, you gave him the money because you're still feeling the man. That's what you gave him the money for.
All right.
So I
Said
said,
that. No, he would never do that. He's done it. I don't
okay,
know if you know that.
you're right.
All right.
Okay, so I said each day after the 25th of August, if you have not paid this money back, it is to add $5 each day. So the majority of
Damn, this broad is a trip. She thinks she a loan shark.
the money, so the majority of the money today is for late fees.
Is that right?
Yeah, and I do have evidence if you want to see the text message.
Sure. You got the law also over there?
He said, you got the law also over there? In other words, bitch, you making up your own rules. Okay, let me hear from you.
Let me hear from
And
you,
then the
sir.
receipt as well is in there from the cash app.
Got it. Let me hear from you, sir.
I definitely asked to borrow the $75.
What?
I said I definitely asked her for the $75 for my car note. But as soon as she said something about $5 every day after this day, you gotta be out your mind.
No, bro, you have to be out of your mind to have to ask a woman for $75 to pay your car note. That tells me that you're living above your means or you're spending too much of your money on these hoes. That's what that tells me. You're running all around your neighborhood trying to see how many of these broads you can knock down and how liberally you can spread out your seed. But a lot of these chicks, females like this, they like this because once again, that fits into their relationship paradigm, what they understand a relationship to be. That being constantly haggling with a man about where he is, what he's doing, so on and so forth.
But you agree to it.
Like a fool. But, and that was after me saying, no, I don't believe what you're saying.
Coming. Do you agree you owe $75?
Most definitely.
All right, so he agrees he owes that, and I'm going to grant you that, $75. What you tried to charge him is over 500% interest. That's criminal. That's called criminal usury. The highest...
Absolutely. And for many of you brothers who read the scriptures, you'll be familiar with the concept of usury. I believe that's in Deuteronomy 23rd chapter, around about the 19th verse, 20th verse.
Highest amount you can charge for a loan is 18%.
Okay.
Unless you are an exception like they have with these payday loans. Those are allowed to exceed that based on them being able to lobby the federal and state governments to give them that exception. Others cannot charge more than 18% interest. Anything above that is excessive. There's a point in which it becomes criminal. And you have crossed over into the criminal lane.
That's because I didn't think that it was...
No, you just didn't think. You should have stopped that. That's because I didn't think.
Take him this long to pay
This is called criminal
$75.
usury. Usury is excessive interest. And it becomes, once again, criminal when it goes a certain amount. All right, so I'll grant you your $75. And stop popping off all your money on those women, you'll have $75.
Simple as that. Grown-ass man don't have $75 to pay his car note. Get out of here with that bullshit.
You sound crazy. $75 you need for your car note. You going for all these women. Man, stop popping your money off. Being a sucker.
And a trick.
Have a good day. Does it for the plan.
I had no idea about the $5 being criminal. However, I also just, said it because I knew he would pay the money back. But obviously, it didn't work the way I thought.
I'm always
You're also trying to find a way to maybe re-ingratiate yourself with him and reestablish the relationship because you clearly are feeling him.
the bad guy. I bought those.
Really?
Them raggedy ass boots you talking about? Come on, man. You should have saved your money instead of buying them boots, pay your damn car note. But anyway, brothers, that's basically it on that. Y'all should know if you're dealing with a woman who has jealousy issues, and hopefully you yourself do not have jealousy issues. One of the main ways that we can escape those jealousy problems is by making sure that we communicate with the person and let them understand what we're going to tolerate and what we're not. Communication is a major, major key, though. But anyway, peace.